Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dugout Podcast World Cup preview. This will be the episode for Group G. I am joined, of course, by my usual co-host, Alexander Cruikshanks, who's just back from his holiday in Germany, which you would have seen. Have you seen the TikTok that he uploaded? Still very committed to that channel. So please go and check it out and see all the good work he does on here. But
That was
on
that was just that was just me trying to do something because I said in the chat, obviously as soon as I go away all the big news happens, so I'm like, oh, I need to upload something while I'm away. It was just on my phone in the hotel room, random sort of tried to keep the production value up, but I wanted to try and just get something out there. But the videos will be coming back properly now that I'm back in sunny Scotland.
Yeah, sunny Scotland indeed, and of course we're still to preview our group, but we're gathering more information with the recent friendlies. Now Scotland played all their friendlies. Most teams in the tournament have played all their friendlies now, with the tournament fast approaching. And today we will be talking about, as I mentioned, Group G, and I don't think there's a better place to start than a team which you could say have past their golden generation, some would say, and the ninth ranked in the world, Belgium. But they've still got a lot of talent across that squad, Alex, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I think they have passed their golden generation, but just looking at the team, they may be in for a bit of a renaissance. You know, they've still got some of those guys who were in that sort of generation of top players who are still playing to a decent level. I mean, and I can't believe Axel Witzel's still knocking about, playing well. So yeah, I think they could be in good stead to make some sort of impact in this tournament. I doubt they will be in contention for winning it, unfortunately, for any Belgians watching, if you've somehow stumbled across this Scottish channel. But yeah, I think they definitely have a lot of talent in there, some decent depth as well. Because I noted down that the starting 11, they played against Tunisia, I believe it was, but they also had some players on the bench who didn't start, also who could make an impact as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from looking at the Belgium squad in their recent matches, it is looking like a really difficult team for even some of the natives to predict who's going to start in some certain areas. Obviously, Belgium, very sort of, what would you say, common at the World Cup, their 15th campaign. Of course, finished as high as third in the 2018 edition. Possibly the end, that was the last tournament of that sort of utmost of the golden generation. But as you touched on, we've still got some of those players in and amongst the squad. They advanced through Group J in UEFA qualifying with relative ease, second most goals per match in Europe.
29 goals in the
Yeah,
qualifying campaign. A 7-0 win over Liechtenstein in there as well. Absolutely mad.
yeah, second most in second most per match in qualifying, because obviously in UEFA qualifying there's some teams that only play 6 games, some that play 8. The only team with more was Norway with 37, and of course we'll get onto them as well. They were unbeaten through all 8 of those fixtures against Wales, North Macedonia, Kazakhstan, and Liechtenstein. Although they did drop a couple of surprising points against Kazakhstan and then 2 draws with North Macedonia. They have since played 4 friendlies. They beat the USA 5-2. They drew 1 each with Mexico, the 2 hosts. And then they beat Croatia 2-0 recently. And then they thrashed a 10-man Tunisia 5-0 on Saturday, I believe that was. And the manager, Rudy Garcia, who's been in charge since January 2025, has seemed to be experimenting between sort of back four and back three, back five, which also brings more confusion as to who's going to start and especially in some defensive areas. Um, he's unbeaten in 13 of the 14 matches in charge. So yeah, I think the lineup for this Belgium squad is going to be difficult to predict, but they have got quality all across the pitch, as well as a mix of youth and some key players coming through that will lead this next generation of their squad forward. your likes of your Jeremy Doku's and players like that, who's already been part of squads gone by. I remember especially at the Euro 2021, as it was that Doku really burst onto the scene for Belgium. And then of course you've got, as you mentioned, Axel Witsel, Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Thomas Meunier, just to name a few. So yeah,
Thibaut
a lot of
Courtois,
experience in the squad.
Thibaut Courtois as well.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course, and starting with him,
Philip,
I'm guessing we expect him to start in goals despite Cyril Lamens having a really good debut season at Man United. I think Courtois, arguably best goalkeeper in the world with over 100 caps, is going to be starting in goals, you would think.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you could say the Belgian goalkeeping position for the future is in safe hands. Uh, but but yeah, for now it's still Courtois' spot. But you have Lamens there. Um, forgetting the guy's name now. Is it Penders?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, Mike Penders, the 20-year-old from Strasbourg on loan from Chelsea, actually, of
Yeah,
course, with that agreement between the two clubs.
yeah, he's another young keeper coming through. So, but yeah, for now, it's still that spot for Thibaut Courtois. Um, when they lined up against Tunisia, they did line up in a 4-2-3-1. Um, which, like you said, though, Ethan, they have changed and chopped and changed. But I feel like the formation sort of you go maybe closest to the tournament, maybe should be the one. You deploy. In that game, they did win 5-0. They also before that had a 2-0 win against Croatia, so very good. Games leading into the tournament. So yeah, they had Thibaut Courtois, Ngoy, Makele. Some of these pronunciations, excuse them. I struggle sometimes with pronouncing certain names, so I just sort of wing it. Timothy Castagna, can't can't believe he's still cutting about. Started at left back. Thomas Meunier as well. Midfield two of Onana and Yuri Tielemans, which that's not a bad pairing in the middle of the park at all. Of course, played together at Aston Villa as well, so they're a good combination to have in there. And then KDB sort of playing in the more advanced sort of 10 role. You have Leandro Trossard, very good season for Arsenal. Obviously won the Premier League, played a big role in that. Obviously Jeremy Doku was spoken about. You mentioned there it was sort of his breakout season where he burst onto the scene back in 2021. But I feel like this campaign, he's sort of because a lot of people had reservations about Doku. Is he just skill and flash and speed with no sort of contribution or end product? But I feel like this season he's solidified himself, Ethan.
Yeah, he certainly went up in those levels, and to be a great Premier League winner, he'll need to go up in those levels again. But he isn't the finished article by any means. It seems like he's been about for a while when you think back to that tournament, but still only just turned 24 there. So still a lot of years of growth for him, and he is the one. If you're looking at that next generation of that squad, that's going to be the real standout player for Belgium. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot of responsibility on his shoulders this tournament certainly, and I think it, although it didn't really work out for them in the European Championships, they had a pretty terrible campaign last time out by Belgium standards. Of course, going out in the group, if I remember correctly. So I think they'll obviously need to be better than that, but I think they are better prepared. I feel that the squad is further along. It's not as raw as it maybe was back there. There's a lot more experience
Yeah,
even in the younger
they were
players that
in
have came through.
they were in real turmoil for a few years, I think. But it feels like they're starting to establish a base again, like because they have lost, like we spoke about their golden generation. They lost a lot of those players who were absolutely crucial to them. Obviously, one of the best wingers in Premier League history. Eden Hazard. Career tailed off a bit early as well after moving to Real Madrid with fitness and injury issues, and obviously the centre back pairing as well of Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen. I think for just in terms of obviously at a club, but also at a national team, just like remarkable sort of luck, I guess you could say, to have those two as your defenders for so many years, and then but back to the lineup, they did start Charles de Ketelaere up top. Of course, Romelu Lukaku is an option. Belgium's all-time top scorer, always shows up for his team. I just feel like anytime Belgium play, you always see Romelu Lukaku popping up with a few goals. Um, like I said, obviously Axel Witsel, they've got Van Aken, an experienced campaigner as well, involved in a few of these, in many of these squads. Sorry, over the years, obviously playing at Club Brugge. You have De Kuiper at Brighton. You obviously have Teat as well, big centre half. Salemakers can make impacts from the wings. And obviously, you've got a world class midfielder as well there, and Nico Raskad. So, no, but I think that they do like him in the national team setup, and since he's sort of been involved, he's been involved. He's not just been like on the fringes. He started his fair share of games, and he could make an impact this tournament also.
Yeah, I think he certainly could do, and I think he's in with the potential to make an impact from the start in that midfield too. I do think that Garcia will go with a 4-2-3-1, as you said, used it in the last warm up before the start of the tournament, and it's just been the more um, usual formation for this team in recent games. So I think that Yuri Tielemans is going to obviously start. An excellent player, excellent season with Aston Villa, helping them to Europa League. Amadou Onana less of a big part in that, but still did play a part of it. Still a top Premier League player. But I think Nicholas Raskin has played a lot of minutes in qualifying for this Belgium team, and he's very well liked. So I think he's in with contention for a place. I think the wingers are probably more solidified. I think Leandro Trossard and Jeremy Doku are going to start. I think Charles de Ketelaere is going to start up front. Romelu Lukaku, not a lot of minutes this season for Napoli, but that being said, shows his presence off the bench in the two warm-up games, a goal and an assist in a combined of just over 40 minutes in those two cameos. So showing his worth and what he can offer to the team across the tournament. And then the back four, I think Arthur Tiat, if that's how you say it, I think he will start in central defence. The other central defenders a little bit more up in the air because I think it would have been Zeno de Bast of Sporting CP, but he's carrying a slight injury at the minute, which means that he's not going to be available for the first game, I believe. So then you're probably looking at Nathan Ngoy, I think, is probably the next one to come into that position. I think Thomas Meunier is going to start at right back. A lot of experience, obviously top player, played for some top teams in the past in Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund.
Where is Mooney now? Is he still at Lille?
Yeah, he's at Lille as well. So obviously you've got, we were speaking about the Spurs sort of partnership. You've got Ngoy and Mooney, both of Lille, and I think that always helps when you have club mates in the national team.
There's another one as well. I think it's at Lille.
Uh, yeah, the young striker, Matheus Fernandes Pardo, 21-year-old, who has had a very impressive um, season at Lille. Still only 21, a lot of first team club experience already though, and I think he may have a little bit of a part to play, but probably coming off the bench after Lukaku in that striker area. But if they need a goal, then he's someone that they can probably turn to. And then the final position that we've not spoke about is probably left back, and I think this one's a bit of a difficult one to call. I think Maxim De Kuiper was big favourite for this position going into the tournament. carried some excellent attacking threat in qualifying. I think he had 2 goals and 2 assists, and really getting forward. Timothy Castagna, less of that player, um, but I think he may start. Although I am unsure. I think it's down to where Jeremy Doku plays, because Doku, in terms of a defensive sort of option, in terms of tracking back, I don't think's anywhere near as good a player as going forward. So maybe if you've got Doku on the left hand side, then you need a little bit more defensive cover in Castagna. But if it's Leandro Trossard on that side, then maybe having the sort of overlap option if the Kuiper's a better one for Gussie. I think that's what I seen from the sort of Belgium supporters or experts that were speaking on the squad. But nonetheless, they've got a lot of options there, and I think they'll do well in this group, certainly initially.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This is a this group though is, I think, on the face of it, you maybe think Belgium, you'd pick them to easily top this group. But I think it's a bit more competitive than maybe you'd expect. I think I probably still would have Belgium as favourites, but the other two teams, I mean, there's one that I don't think will do very well, unfortunately. But the other two teams could pose some problems for Belgium.
Yeah,
But
and on you go.
sorry,
Sorry.
no, I'm just saying. But I was just going to say, but I do think they probably will top this group.
Yeah, I think we'll unless you've got anything more to add on the Red Devils, as they're known as. I think we're ready to move on to one of those teams that you referenced to. I think we'll go over to the African side first. Egypt, 29th ranked in the world. The Pharaohs, which I found out was their sort of nickname for the national team, which I didn't actually know that, which is a pretty cool nickname. They finished fourth at the recent AFCON after losing to Nigeria in the third place playoff. In qualifying, they topped their 6-team Group A in pretty convincing fashion, won 8 of their 10 matches, with draws against Burkina Faso and Guinea-Bissau. They also had Sierra Leone, Ethiopia, and Djibouti were the other teams in the group. They only conceded 2 goals across the 10 matches, but they did score just 20, which, if you compare the two metrics, isn't too many goals to be scoring. Mohamed Salah, despite his struggles in the Premier League and at Liverpool this season, still managed 9 goals in the qualifying. And of course, you expect him to be their biggest threat, regardless of what kind of performances he's turned in at club level this season. This is their fourth occasion on the biggest stage, after previously qualifying in 1934, a long wait for the next one in 1990, and then in 2018, but are actually yet to record a single victory at the tournament, 2 draws and 5 defeats. So they'll obviously be expecting to get off the mark this time around. But between those 3 teams that we spoke about at the top, you would expect to be the top 3 in this group. There's no guaranteed results certainly in there. But 7 times African Cup of Nations winners, but just no success yet on the world stage. And I think that's what they really want to change now, especially in one of the probably the best.
You've just rattled off all my facts there, so I'm all my research is kaput for this group. For this, unfortunately. No, but yeah, they topped qualifying. They only conceded twice in qualifying, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, sorry, Alex, but no, we know Egypt are probably in one of their greatest generation in terms of some of the individual players they have. You think of Omar Marmoush, his recent sort of uprise, obviously at Frankfurt, and now where he's had a pretty difficult campaign at Manchester City, not really getting regular minutes, but still obviously a quality player. And Mohamed Salah, the greatest Egyptian player of all time, of course. Some would maybe even go as far to say the greatest African player of all time. So I think he probably
That's an interesting debate. Who would you put up there with them?
up there with him. I think
Samuel
people.
Eto'o?
What is it?
Samuel Eto'o?
Yeah, Samuel Eto'o is one of them. George Weah,
The day
uh,
drop.
Didier Drogba was the other one I was thinking of. But yeah, I think Mohamed Salah probably I would say the best out of
Riyad
them.
Mahrez.
Riyad Mahrez, Sadio Mane as well, of course. So yeah, but yeah, he's certainly up the top anyway. But as an interesting conversation to have.
Pele.
Who?
Abedi Pele.
Yeah, Abedi Pele. Yeah, you could go with him. I
The
don't know if he's on the
father.
same level as the other ones, is he?
The father of the Ayew brothers.
Yeah, of course. Who I think one of them is, or maybe both of them. Is it just one of them? We'll get on to it anyway, but certainly they will be represented at the tournament when we get on to another African side. But yeah, I think they really want to make the most of this group of players that they've got, and that they'll feel that the Egyptians will feel that Mohamed Salah deserves a sort of successful World Cup campaign. Of course, never won AFCON either. So yeah, I think he probably wants and deserves more maybe from his international um, career. But then again, you'll say that he's the main player in that team and he needs to sort of earn that. And if you're looking at his qualifying numbers, then he's certainly looking like a player that's going to cause a threat at this tournament. But it's difficult to look past his Premier League form this season, Alex.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not been a great year in the Premier League, but you can't overlook him. You can never overlook him. So I I don't. I'm not saying that Egypt will progress far in the tournament, but I certainly think this is a great opportunity to get out of the group, guaranteed, because like I think it's an opportunity for all three of these teams because unfortunately I feel like they're coming up against one of the potentially the worst teams in the tournament.
Yeah,
Um, I don't. I'm trying to be a bit more respectful because I've really ripped into Curacao and Qatar in the other episodes. But it's a good opportunity for all three of these teams in this group to progress. I mean, yeah, Egypt have a decent side like Trezeguet, Omar Marmoush, obviously Salah, who we've been speaking about. Those two mainly. As sort of in behind them is Zico Mustafa as well. Obviously, as well, they have what's his face, the guy at Nantes.
I don't think did he get called up?
Did he not?
I don't think he did because I think I was looking earlier.
He played. He played in qualifying.
Yeah, he did because he played quite a big part in qualifying, but never got called up. I'll have to
My mistake.
I have to remind myself of
No,
his
he
his,
didn't.
his name, but
Yeah.
um,
Uh, Interesting.
yeah, it is. There's a few interesting, really squad sort of selections, and yeah, Mustafa Mohamed, a non-striker, 4 goals this season in Ligue 1, but not selected, despite playing the more minutes in qualifying than Omar Marmoush, in fact. But qualifying in the African region was across 2023 and 2025, so some of it quite outdated. And another sort of strange selection that Hassam Hassan, um, the former international who's the coach and has been since February 2024, the 59-year-old, was 4 goalkeepers in the squad. What do you make of that, Alex? It's a bit of a strange one.
I feel like it's just wasting an outfield. Why are you bringing four goalkeepers?
Yeah, no,
What's
I completely
what's
agree
the
with you.
with that? So weird. So weird. Did you imagine the uproar if Steve Clark brought four goalkeepers?
Yeah, I can. Well, maybe I can't actually with some of the uproar that Steve Clark gets for other decisions. So, but no, it's
Although
even
I think we're in good stead. First time we scored 4 goals in back-to-back games since I think it was the 60s or something.
no Scotland going to go all the way. Well, you can find out how what we think of them when we do release that episode, that Group C preview. That
Definitely are going all the way easily.
yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, looking at the goalkeeper for Egypt, I think it's going to be a difficult one to predict. Even well, probably aided by the fact that there's four goalkeepers going to the tournament. But in qualifying, Mohamed El Shanawi completely dominated the minutes. Played 783. The next up was 90. But then if you look at their most recent sort of big competitive match, you could say back in January, and the AFCON quarterfinals or semi-finals, sorry, against Senegal. It was him that started again in goals, but then in the sort of third place playoff game, it was Mustafa Ahmed Shaber, who's I believe started one of the recent friendlies. Yeah, he started and played the whole game against Brazil. So I think it's maybe looking from the outside, from our point of view, it's difficult to maybe see who's going to start in goals for Egypt. I don't know if that's maybe a consensus um, across there in Africa as well, or if they're more wise to who's going to start in goals. I know certainly people have been confused as to who's going to start in goals for Scotland, but I think we'd be pretty confident to say it'll be Angus Gunn. So yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to highlight the fact that they've selected four goalkeepers.
If I'm up at 1 a.m. For this game coming up, if I'm up at 1 a.m., the lineup gets put out and Craig Gordon's in between the sticks, I'm going to bed.
He was good. He was good in the game against Denmark, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot he played in that. Um,
You taking back your slander.
uh, it's not a slander if it's true. I just don't. Yeah, yeah, Angus Gunn's always the obvious option. We're not in a good position goalkeeping wise, which is strange because for many years I think goalkeeper was like one of our best positions. You know, obviously you had the likes of Gordon, sort of in his prime. You had Al McGregor before he stopped playing for the national team. David Marshall before that Euros incident. So yeah, we've had a lot of good goalkeepers over sort of the last decade or so, and now I feel like we're in quite a poor position goalkeeping wise. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I would. Obviously, Egypt maybe not in a poor position. The fact they've brought four, that's not the
Or
strongest position.
they're all garbage, and the guy's just like, oh, I don't know, it's a toss up. I'll just take this guy, see who's best in training, and then I'll slot them in.
That might be the case also.
So in some of my research on Egypt, I learned that the manager he likes to play a very sort of defensive style, an ugly style of football, even if there's an opportunity where they clearly have better players and they can attack. New Zealand could take something if he plays the wrong game plan, and he refuses to play expansive football from what I've seen. So if like as much as it's about quality of squads, it's about tactics as well. And if um, he's tactically naive, it could fall right into the hands because New Zealand aren't a team that sit back either. And obviously we'll get onto them in more detail, but they don't sit back. So if Egypt just try to sort of make it ugly, New Zealand could take something off them.
Yeah, they certainly could, and I think we'll just go through maybe a predicted lineup I've seen for Egypt before we go on to the rest of the teams in this group. So this predicted lineup does actually have Mustafa Shaber as the goalkeeper, and as you referenced to, with the really pragmatic and ugly style of play, you could say it looks like a 5-2-3, or maybe you could sort of market it as a 4-3-3 with a really deep lying midfielder. The back four is Fatu, Abdel Maged, Abdel Monaim, and Hani, with Fatih sitting just in front of the two central defenders. And then it's Ashur and Ateya as the two midfielders, and behind a very strong front three, it's got to be said, of Trezeguet, of course, formerly of Aston Villa, Omar Marmoush, and Mohamed Salah. Trezeguet now
I
playing
think,
his
I think
football.
he played for Juventus as well, didn't he?
Not the same Trezeguet. No, that's not the same Trezeguet, Alex, as you know fine well. Trezeguet now at Al Ali SC, 18 goals this season, 23 goals and 80 caps for the national team, and 7 goal contributions in qualifying, only bettered in Egypt by Mohamed Salah, of course. So yeah, that's the predicted lineup for Egypt. And now ready to move on to Iran, Alex?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so Iran, 21st
A
ranked.
politically controversial team in this tournament.
Yes, of course. And Iran are going to need to deal with very different and difficult circumstances to maybe anything we've seen in a World Cup before. How will the players be able to react to that and adapt to that? We'll obviously find out. But I'm glad that they have been able to play at the tournament, because they did qualify, of course, and I think they deserve the spot because of that. It's their 7th trip to the tournament, having failed to surpass the group stage in any of the previous ones, their 4th consecutive qualification. So they're making a bit of a habit of getting to the World Cup. They topped their AFC third round group of qualifying, containing some really decent teams in that region: Uzbekistan, UAE, who were very close to qualifying, Qatar, of course, sorry, who did qualify. Um, Kyrgyzstan and North Korea also. They were unbeaten in 9 of the 10 fixtures, excluding an away defeat to Qatar. Since the sort of qualifying, or the competitive games they played, I think they played the Arab Cup after qualifying. They've since lost 2-1 to Russia in a friendly, beat Cape Verde, and lost to Uzbekistan in friendlies, which went to penalties. Bit strange, but a bit of practice, you could say. And then in the recent games, they lost 2-1 to Nigeria and beat Gambia 3-1. So obviously a couple of games against African sides, and I think the African side in this group, Egypt, are going to play probably a really big part in whether Iran advance to the next stage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Interestingly, lost to a team who didn't qualify for the World Cup. Although I think Nigeria massively underperformed, because you look at their squad, it's just a really good squad. Nigeria, they just haven't been able to put it together in recent years, unfortunately. But yeah, Iran topped qualifying by 2 points. They have never progressed out of a World Cup group, unfortunately for them. But obviously, with the third place option, they could have a big opportunity. Obviously, probably the most well known player in this squad is Mehdi Taremi, formerly of Porto, Inter Milan, now at Olympiacos. He's played at sort of European football to a very high level for the majority of his career, and he's still doing it for the national team. Interestingly enough, though, in some of the sort of lineups and stuff, he seems to play off the left, which I was not expecting. Oh, I'm not super well versed in this Iranian team, but they maybe one to watch out for is a Kasari Taleri, just 19 years old, been given the opportunity in this team as well. But yeah, do you know what's quite interesting actually? You know, you said Egypt would deploy a five back
Yep.
most likely. I had them down as a 4-2-3-1.
Well,
Um,
I've actually just seen another lineup that has Imam Ashur as a sort of attacking midfielder. I think he played a big part in qualifying. So I think again, a lot of these teams, and we said it for Belgium as well, was a lot of unpredictability as to not only who's going to play, but where the players are going to play, what formation they're going to play, and that always adds to the
yeah.
entertainment of the group. And I think you can see that for Iran as well. This
I'm
predicted
like,
lineup I'm looking at has Mediterranean up front, but as you very well said there, that he has started on the left at times and did in that recent friendly against Gambia, which is I'd agree with you, not really something I've seen from him. Looking at the profile of his player and knowing him from his very successful stints at Porto, obviously had a small sort of maybe it was a couple of seasons or maybe even just a season at Inter Milan as well. So obviously he is the standout player.
yeah. I just brought that up because from sort of predicted lineups, I also had Iran down as a 4-2-3-1. So three teams in this group could be playing that formation, which is quite interesting. Sort of the team I just put I think I put down the team that they played against um Gambia, although it probably won't be the actual team. So I had it down as a 4-2-3-1. You know what, I've wrote these names down, but I'm gonna get my phone because my handwriting is terrible, and trying to pronounce these names with my terrible handwriting would just be insulting. So I need to get it up properly.
Well, one player that I do recognise in this squad outside of some of the bigger names maybe is Ali Reza Beranvan, the goalkeeper, 33-year-old. He's started at the last two World Cups, five appearances in the group stage. So he's an experienced campaigner, which he's expected to start in goals, dominated the minutes as
Highlighted for his technique of starting really far behind the line for penalty kicks.
well.
Uh, and then moving forward, I think he saved a couple of penalties in a World Cup. So yeah, he was sort of highlighted for that. In that game against Gambia, they did have him in goals. Back to centre backs of Nemati and Ezatolahi. Left back Kanani, left back Yusefi, midfield of Mohamed Mohebi and Ihsan Haji Safi. I'm gonna. I think I just need to say it with more confidence.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it. That's it. Just say it with confidence, and then you sound like you're saying it correct.
on the right hand side they had Amir Mohamed Razaginia. On the left, Mehdi Taremi. Just down behind the striker was the 19-year-old Kashra Tahiri. Um, and up top, okay, this one's going to be bad. Amir Hossein Zadeh was up top for Iran in that game. So yeah, he has scored 13 goals and got 2 assists. This campaign not as strong as last season, where he did get 22 goals. But
I
he's
love the
obviously,
club. I love the club he's playing for. Tractor with a tractor on the badge. That's brilliant.
yeah, absolutely class in the Persian Gulf division.
That's
A
a
couple of
Arabian league.
couple of these guys obviously playing in the Persian Gulf division as well. So
Yeah, and just to highlight a few more players that I've recognised. Obviously, Johan Bash now playing
yeah,
for SCV Dender in Belgium. Obviously, formerly of Brighton and Feyenoord, mostly known. He's obviously got experience at the tournament as well. Another one that I seen was Saman Ghoddos of formerly Brentford, now at Al Ittihad Kalba in the UAE Pro League. And then the final one, which I seen, who I think was expected to do really big things when he was younger, but it's not really worked out for him now. Back in the UAE Pro League as well, actually, is Sardar Azmoun, obviously formerly of Zenit St. Petersburg, where he had an excellent scoring record in Russia for multiple teams before moving over to Bayer Leverkusen and Roma, where it didn't really work out. But obviously, he's a talented player. Might have the career might have not planned out the way that he wanted it to, and a lot of Iranians expected it to. But he's still a talented player that can provide moments for this squad, and that's what the World Cup's about, and that's what football in general is about. It's just moments of quality sometimes, or sort of taking advantage of mistakes. And like Egypt, I would say they're a pretty, in terms of known names, they're a pretty top-heavy team. You look at all their star players, or in the wide areas, or in the striking department, which might make for a very entertaining couple of games in this group.
Yeah, obviously, I just noticed one as well. Dennis Eckert of Standard Liège um, has had a long career in Europe. Started at Borussia Mönchengladbach, then from 2017, he was at Celta Fortuna, their sort of second division side. Moved up to the Celta Vigo first team, then moved to Excelsior, was at Ingolstadt for 3 years, then USG for 3 years, and he's been at Standard Liège for the past two. Sort of an attacking midfielder. However, it looks like he prefers the goals. His last two seasons, he scored 15 goals and got 0 assists from that kind of position. So it looks like he prefers to score goals rather than set them up. So that very, like you said, a very top heavy team.
Yeah, and of course, for Dennis Eckert, not Iranian born in Germany, former youth international, and actually, I've just found out there, looking more into it, that he's known as Dennis Dergahi in Iran. So, if you hear maybe or see his name listed as that, then that is why. So, yeah, an interesting story. Always interesting. Players playing for different countries to the ones they were born in, and maybe the ones they're expected to represent, especially if it's across different continents. But no, I think is that has maybe covered all of the bases of this Iranian team.
Yeah, now let's get on to the best part.
Yeah, yeah. I
No
think
pain, no
you've been
gain.
waiting,
No pain, no gain.
you've been
Ah,
waiting You've been waiting a while for this, and of course, it is New Zealand, 85th ranked team in the tournament. I believe that is the lowest, and I imagine some of the recent friendly games wouldn't have given them much confidence going into the tournament.
oh, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be getting a lot of confidence from one of them.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Although, yeah, one of them, but they did, of course, after losing 4-0 to Haiti, one of the other lowest ranked teams in the tournament, they did only lose 1-0 to England via a Harry Kane goal. So, that'll give them encouragement going into these games. But as you said, they are the big underdogs. Three nations in the top 30 ranked in the world. Been to a lot of tournaments recently, and you expect them to qualify. New Zealand, I think, have benefited massively off the expansion of a tournament. There's no getting away from that. They will admit that themselves, but they've took advantage of it and got to their first tournament since 2010. And if memory serves correct, they were one of the first teams to actually qualify. It was way back in, well, over
I've
a
got,
year ago they qualified.
I've got an interesting fact about 2010. The last time they were in it, they were the only team who were unbeaten in that entire tournament. 3 draws in the group stages.
Well, that's an interesting. That is certainly an interesting in stat, and I've seen loads of them over about numerous teams. Weird stats, and that's certainly one of them. Considering the sort of world football pedigree, and they absolutely no disrespect to the teams they were playing against, but they absolutely dominated in qualifying and went through with ease. I'll just read out some of the results from the OFC region, which is the one that New Zealand play in. Some of the results include a 8-1 victory over Vanuatu, an 8-0 win over Samoa, 7-0 over Fiji. That's just to name a few. So they completely dominated in that, and that was over a year ago. So you can't really take much from that. It's been a lot of friendlies since, and
There's
not.
there's been chat about New Zealand potentially following in the footsteps of the Aussies and moving from the OSC region to the AFC region, just because since Australia did make that move, their football has taken a leap. You know, their international football, the quality of players. Obviously, you're coming up against better opposition, I guess you could say, when because obviously in that sort of region of the world, rugby is probably the biggest sport, especially in countries like sort of Samoa as well, and Fiji, who both have good rugby teams. So there's been chat about New Zealand potentially moving into that sort of qualifying route. Obviously, I think it would be difficult at first, but it could benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and I think that's been something that, as I found out the other day, that the All Whites, they're called the football team, in sort of comparison to obviously the All Blacks, the rugby team. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's one that they probably don't
Yeah,
want.
because you look at the contrast as well, you can see why you can see rugby as the biggest sport because the All Blacks are the most famous, best rugby team of all time.
Yeah,
You know, and their football team's absolutely rank rotten. So
no, 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 that's not nice. But no, just before we maybe get on to the predicted lineups and the very special story within that, um, I'm just going to read through their friendlies since they qualified. They beat Ivory Coast 1-0, which is an excellent result. Lost 2-1 to Ukraine, lost 1-0 to the Aussies, lost 3-1. They played the Aussies again, lost 1-0 to Poland, drew 1 each with Norway, 2-1 defeat to Colombia, 2-0 defeat to Ecuador, 2-0 defeat to Finland,
who won
4-1.
each with Norway?
Yes,
Wow.
yeah, and a 4-1 victory over Chile as well, who obviously didn't qualify, but still a very respected South American
Yeah,
nation.
but they tried to take out Rafa Leao, or Rafa Leao rather tried to take them out.
Yeah, yeah. I did see that when him and the Chile player were sent off for both exchanging and violent conduct. And then in the recent games, lost 4-0 to Haiti, and then the 1-0 defeat to England, which we spoke about.
See that Haiti result, does that give you less confidence in New Zealand, or does that make you more nervous to play Haiti? The fact that they've gone and just battered it. Although Bolivia are ranked above Haiti and New Zealand, I think, and we just battered
Yeah,
them.
yeah, Bolivia ranked quite a bit above them, I believe. I think Bolivia are around the 60s, maybe. But obviously, as we've spoke about many times on here, that the world rankings never tell the full story.
Bolivia weren't bad though. Like, didn't well they just missed out on qualifying, didn't they? They finished
Yeah,
seventh.
I think they finished sixth or seventh. It was one of the two.
I
It
think they
was
finished seventh because I think it was Paraguay that finished sixth, was it? Um,
um,
just
let me
snuck
see.
it.
I'll just double check. Yeah, Paraguay was sixth. Sorry, Bolivia was seventh, and but they were 8 points behind Paraguay in fairness, and went into the intercontinental playoff, and they beat um, they beat Suriname, sorry, and then they lost to Iraq and went out. Unfortunately, almost the final hurdle really to get into the tournament. Before Iraq obviously played someone else. I can't remember who that. No, Iraq obviously won and went through. They're in the tournament. I forgot they were in the tournament for a second there. So many teams to remember. 48 of them.
Well,
So
Iraq are in this group, mate, so come on.
what,
Oh, no, wait, no, they're
what?
not. It's Iran. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. God. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I am sorry. That was so bad. I thought you were. My dumb brain was thinking, why is it? For some reason, I just auto programmed to think you were talking about Iran. I'm like, why is he saying he forgot Iran? Wait, why were they in a playoff? We spoke about them top and qualifying, and no,
Yeah.
my
No, we'll get on.
apologies.
We've not spoke about Iraq yet. In fairness, we'll get on to them. But no, it is a lot of teams to remember. But yeah, New Zealand. Do you want to just tell the story of this squad and one of the stories of the tournament so far that I think you especially have been very invested in?
Yeah, so um, Eli Just of Motherwell, no, but he's one we'll talk about as well. But obviously, the big story of this tournament is Tim Payne. A few just over a couple of weeks ago, an Argentinian content creator, El Scarzo, he embarked on a quest to find um, the most unknown footballer at the tournament, obviously with a social media presence as well. But he went on there and settled on Tim Payne, and he asked his followers to make him, you know, famous and all that. He now it started rapid. He gained 600,000 followers overnight. He had 4,000. Argentinians made a song about him as well, which was fantastic. And now he currently sits on 5.4 million followers, more than the population of his home nation of New Zealand. And he's brought a lot of attention to the New Zealand national team. Obviously, he plays in the A League for Wellington Phoenix, and although he's been a footballer and decent level for a majority of his career, this is really feel good because you've got to imagine this is life changing stuff for him. The brands that will be coming out of the woodwork and people wanting to work with him, offering him some money. Obviously, I think he does have a decent level of living, but this could be ridiculous amounts of money he could be getting, and yeah, just he's spoken about it, just a regular bloke, and he's been overwhelmed by all the positivity and support he's gotten, and it's shined a light on the New Zealand national team as well, who I think have gained a lot of followers as well, the All Whites. So yeah, just it's just great. This is why we love football and stuff around it, and it's just a really feel good story going into the tournament.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think a lot of players in this squad, like Tim Payne, are as we've seen in maybe the Club World Cup last summer, that a lot of these players are not full-time professionals. A few of them certainly in this squad will not be, and it's an excellent opportunity for them to go and play on the world stage as people who do have other jobs, and it's an excellent story, and there is a few excellent stories in this New Zealand squad. Another one which I found is the coach, Darren Baisley, or Basley, who's the 53-year-old, who's English, who used to be a player in England, played over 250 games, I think, for Watford in his playing career, and then moved over to New Zealand to do coaching, started in the under-17s for New Zealand in 2013, and has moved all the way up through the under 23s, under 19s, under 20s, until taking the first team role in 2023, and actually I believe still coaches under 23s as well as the first team. So yeah, an excellent commitment he's made to that nation and helping them make a return to a World Cup, and he'll just hope to see his team give their best effort on the stage when it comes, because you know it is going to be difficult for them, of course. With they're going to be fourth favourite in this group, lowest ranked team in the tournament. The odds are all stacked against them, but you never know. This is where legends are made, so to say, and stories can be created. But yeah, there is a few players in this team playing for Auckland FC who we did see at that Club World Cup. Obviously, is the biggest club side in New Zealand, but there's also a lot of players dotted across Europe. I think the goalkeeper will be most likely probably Alex Paulson, I would think, although I'm not 100% sure on that.
I've got Max Krakombe.
Oh, the Millwall goalkeeper, yeah.
Nine clean sheets and 23 starts for Millwall this season.
Yeah.
Although I thought it must be a god awful defence, because I was looking at it. 9 clean sheets in those 23 games, but in that period they also conceded 25 goals. So 11 games they conceded 25 goals. Absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Sorry, not 11.
14.
There we go. I don't know where I got 11 from. But yeah, excuse my maths. I've got him, and I've actually got a lineup here if you want.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So I've got Max Kakombe in goals, the goal at right back, Liberato Kakachi of Wrexham at left back. I've got Finn Surman and Michael Boxall as the centre backs, although Tyler Binden could be in there as well, obviously, of Sheffield United. Midfield three. By the way, it's a 4-3-3. I don't know if I said that. Sapreet Singh, Joe Bell, and Marco Stamenic. And then a front three, I've gone Chris Wood, Matthew Garbutt, and Elijah Just of Motherwell.
Yeah, well, you were saying about how there is maybe some players that aren't full-time professionals in the squad, but they have got a lot of quality individuals dotted throughout it. Obviously, we've got first-hand viewing of Elijah Just in his first season at Motherwell, and he's been absolutely excellent, nominated for almost all the awards you can do in Scotland. And
you know, a lot of Rangers and Celtic fans calling for him to come to their teams as well.
Yeah, exactly. 7 goals and 7 assists in the Premiership this season. Some really good sort of numbers and the underlying metrics. Also, yeah, I think he could really have a breakout tournament to further put Motherwell in an advantageous position in terms of selling him on after just a season in Scotland. Of course, Chris Wood is the big name in the squad, though. 34 years of age. How many goals has he got for New Zealand? 45 in 88 matches. Very impressive return for him. Of course, just an excellent goal scorer wherever he's really went. In his Premier League career also. And then you've got the likes of Sarpreet Singh, 27 now, who spent the season on loan at Wellington Phoenix, of course, formerly of Wellington Phoenix before going to Bayern Munich. So yeah, they've got a lot of talented individuals, and this is a team that, of course, you expect, and we'll give our predictions in a second. You would expect to maybe finish bottom of the group, but I don't think they're going to have made it to their first tournament in 16 years to go down without a fight, Alex.
No, absolutely not. I think they'll get something in this group, but I don't think they're as, mainly due to maybe the overall quality of the rest of the group as well. But I don't think they're as doomed as Curacao and Qatar. But you know, I guess we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. Do you want to do group predictions then?
yeah, I think we're ready to get into it. So, do you want to both start with our? Well, I think we'll just start. We spoke about New Zealand there, so we'll finish on them. But we'll start at the top of the group. Number one, I think we both gave it away. I think we do think that Belgium will return to
I've
the.
changed my mind. I'm going for Tim Payne and the All Whites. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Belgium.
Yeah, I think
Belgium.
Belgium will top the group. I don't think it'll be easy for them. I think they'll be made to work for um, for topping the group, but I think they will get there. Second place is probably the big one. Who have you got in second?
I'm going for Iran.
Yeah, I'm going for Iran also. I think I just think that they've got the slight edge over Egypt. Why? I don't
I think
know.
they play better as a team, just
Yeah,
based on what I've seen.
I,
You
I
know,
I think I would agree, and I
they're
think
really, really tight knit. A lot of these guys have been playing together for years.
yeah,
You know,
I think in Egypt maybe a little bit more heavily relying on the likes of Mohamed Salah to produce a moment of magic, and if he can do it, of course he'll be the difference between the two teams because he's arguably still the best player in this group. But is he going to be able to reach those levels? We don't know. So yeah, I would agree. Iran at second.
I mean,
Uh,
we're all talking about how Salah's had like a bad season, right? But it's a bad season by his standards. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but it's still yeah. Yeah, I get what you're
Still
saying.
got,
I
he's
get what you're
still got 22 goal contributions and 41 appearances for Liverpool this season.
Yeah, but it's not the 57 and 52 of last season, is it?
No, but it's still good
No, it's still
numbers.
very, very impressive. No, you're right to say that. Yeah,
Everyone's talking about as if he's like, you know, in the retirement home. You know what I mean? He's doing nothing. He's giving you Atlanta Hawks Vince Carter numbers. You know what I mean? No, but he's you know he's still putting up some decent stats. He's not Brooklyn Nets Kevin Garnett. You know what I mean?
the Boston Celtics, Shaquille O'Neal. No, I think, yeah, no, but I think he's obviously going to go to, it looks like, Saudi Arabia now and sort of maybe slow down his career after an excellent stint in the Premier League. And he could be the difference in this group
Think he'll
set.
stay now. Think he'll stay now. His arch enemies left.
Uh, oh, harness a lot.
Mm.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. I think he's worked his ticket out, so to say. So I think he will leave Liverpool, and maybe his last memory of being a Liverpool player could be guiding Egypt to their first World Cup win, or first group exit. Either, well, group exit. I mean, in a positive sense of getting out the groups, not exiting at the group stage. Probably phrased that poorly. But anyway,
Group
New
advance.
Zealand. Sorry, Alex. New Zealand at fourth. Do we? What do we think they can achieve though across the
Who
tournament?
said I had New Zealand in fourth?
Oh,
I do have New Zealand in fourth.
oh.
Unfortunately, I don't think they'll have enough. I mean, I think they could get a point at least, but I don't think they will progress. I can see Belgium absolutely scudding them. You know, maybe some decent performances in the other games, but I can see Belgium taking 5 or 6 off them genuinely.
oh, not going to be a good afternoon for or evening, depending on when the
Oh,
game
because
is for Tim Payne.
they just battered Tunisia from pillar to post, and
Tunisia were playing with a 10 men for most of that game,
I
though.
would say Tunisia are better than New Zealand. So
Yeah, I would suggest that as well. So, yeah, could be really difficult for New Zealand, but I think again there's storylines behind all the teams in this group, and like we've spoke about in all the groups, I think we're looking forward to it. Just as much as most of the other groups. I think there's a few standouts, and of course, we've got our own biases within some of the other groups. But I think that's all from this episode. So thanks very much for watching, and thank you very much if you've supported any of the other videos of this series. as I've said in all the episodes, this will be a daily series. So the day this episode comes out, there'll be one coming out the next day, and all the previous groups, apart from Group C, as I mentioned, will have already been covered on the YouTube channel, and they are uploaded on the Spotify if you want to listen to them on there. Thanks very much for the support on the series. Thank you very much for the support on the TikTok. Please go and check out Alex's work on there. Support us on the Twitter as well. So yeah, thanks very much, and see you later. Goodbye.